It's Monday, July 22nd, and I am back with a full card of MLB action. Kicking off, as always, with the money line. Then I have a best NRFI bet, strikeout bet, home run prop, and a 4-leg parlay that pays 15 to 1 at the end of the video. So stick around, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the best money line bet on the slate today. Starting off with some plus money in a divisional game, we have the St. Louis Cardinals heading to Pittsburgh to take on the Pirates. I'm going with the Cardinals, plus 110 on the road. Both these teams are coming off series wins. The Cardinals were able to beat the Braves 2-1, while the Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Phillies 2-1 at home. Now, Mitch Keller is starting for Pittsburgh, and I get that he is better than Andre Palantine, the starter for St. Louis, but this is a wrong team favorite situation. The Cardinals are a superior team. We're getting them at plus money. I'm taking it and running. There's a lot of familiarity between these two teams and these starters being divisional foes. Mitch Keller has great metrics against this Cardinals lineup, a .330 expected weighted on base, a .249 expected batting average, and a .413 expected slug in 148 plate appearances. Then you have Palenti. He's got a .325 expected weighted on base, a .234 expected batting average, and a .395 expected slug in 62 plate appearances against the Pirates. But this is the difference between these two teams. This Cardinals offense since the break has really not stopped hitting, while Pitt yesterday lost their winning streak after their bats were thwarted against the Phillies pitching, and not the best that the Phillies could throw at them. Another reason why I like the Cardinals here is Palenti is a 97th percentile ground ball pitcher, meaning that he gets a lot of rollovers and outs that way. He's also 91st in barrel rate. So the Pittsburgh, who's hitting a lot of these timely home runs and timely hits to the gap to win these games against the Phillies, they're not going to be able to lift the ball as often against Palenti. Now, Keller's advanced metrics are not as good as some of his box score metrics, and he's somebody who is susceptible to the long ball, and St. Louis has been lifting the ball, limiting strikeouts, and producing better hit baseballs in general. This is the wrong team favored. I'm going with the Cardinals to win the first game of the series in Pittsburgh. Now, let's talk about the best NRFI bet of the day. We're sweating 6 outs, and we're sweating them at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, a pitcher's park, which is always nice for a NRFI look. You have Bryce Miller going for the Mariners, and he has decimated this Angels roster. A .254 expected weighted on-base average, a .192 expected batting average, a .372 expected slug, and a 48% strikeout rate against the current Angels roster. And strikeouts is huge for your NRFI because you have a guy who is able to get outs by the swing and miss and the K that limits balls in play. Helpful for the NRFI. Now, the Angels are scoring just .37 runs in the first inning, and that number drops to .35 runs when on the road, so not great first inning metrics for the Los Angeles Angels. On the flip side, all-star pitcher Tyler Anderson is going for the Angels, and he has also done very well against this Mariners roster. .288 expected weighted on base, .382 x slug, a .243 expected batting average, and 80 plate appearances against this current Mariners roster. I already mentioned this in a pitcher's park, and Seattle is averaging .47 runs per first inning, and that drops to .33 at T-Mobile to show how this is a tough place to produce runs, especially early in the game. So I'm going with the NRFI in the Angels-Mariners game in Seattle. Now let's talk a strikeout prop. Going to Minnesota for today's strikeout prop, and we're back in Ranger Suarez of the Philadelphia Phillies, over 4.5 strikeouts against the Twins. Now, the Twins' MO to start the season and also last year was just to be a 3 true outcome team. They struck out, they homered, or they walked. But now that Min is healthy, they have a bunch of guys who are making a lot more contact in general, and they've done a great job cleaning up their strikeout metrics. But still, this number is too low for Ranger Suarez. He's cleared this number in 68% of his starts this year. And yes, like I mentioned, the Twins' strikeout rate has dropped, especially against lefties, a 20.8% K rate in the first half, and a 21.7% in their last 14 games against left-handed pitching. But there is still one problem for the Twins, and that is chasing the baseball. They have a 29% chase rate the last 14 games. They had a 29% chase rate in the first half against lefties, which is high. And overall, they are 14th in the MLB in chase rate this season. Now, Suarez, getting chases is his bread and butter. He's in the 73rd percentile in chase rate. And he also strikes out lefties and righties at a relatively similar clip, just a 1% difference, and they're both over 24%. So the Twins cannot just stack all righties and expect to, absolutely get to Suarez. He still has the ability to strike out right-handed batters. If they do throw in some lefties in there as well, Suarez can handle them also. So there's no way the Twins can build a lineup that has a major advantage over Suarez. So Ranger Suarez over 4.5 Ks, best K prop of the day. Now let's talk some dingers. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Headed to Coors Field for today's home run prop of the day, and we're going with Rafael Devers of the Red Sox to go long. Now, this is a tough one because the Red Sox are not very good against left-handed pitching, and they do not have guys who hit a ton of dingers against lefties either. Tyler O'Neill leads the team in home runs against lefties with 7, and then you have Devers, who has 3 home runs. This is still a very good matchup in an obvious hitter's park, so Devers should be the Red Sox to go yard today. Gomber is tied for 4th in home runs allowed this season. He's allowed 6 of his 19 dingers to left-handed batters, and he also has a very low amount of plate appearances against lefties, and his home run through 9 is actually much higher against left-handed batters due to the fact that in limited plate appearances, he still allowed 6 of his 19 home runs to left-handed batters. Like I said, Devers has only 3 home runs off of lefties this year, but against left-handed batters, Austin Gomber is mostly a 4-seam slider, knuckle curve kind of pitcher. Devers has a run value of 12 against 4-seamers, a run value of 5 against sliders, and a 53.8% hard hit rate against curveballs this year. Coors Field, of course, is again a hitter's park in the elevation. Ball should be flying, and Rafael Devers has a chance to go yard off of Gomber, or later in the game against the Rockies bullpen, which is not a good bullpen whatsoever. So Rafael Devers is mispriced, and he should go yard today. Now let's talk about the 15-1 4-leg parlay that you've all been waiting for. As always, we're starting off the 4-legger with the best money line of the day. We go for a game line parlay. So that St. Louis money line is the first leg of today's game line lay. Next, we're heading to Kansas City for the Royals against the Diamondbacks, and we're going with the Kansas City Royals to win Game 1 of this series. Now, AZ has done well against left-handed pitching, and they're a team that likes to single and double you to death. They're not a home run threat team. But KC is facing a young pitcher in Diaz, who is making his 3rd start, and he has 2 good starts under his belt. But he still has an expected FIP of .435, and he is facing the best offense he has faced so far in the bigs. Now, the Royals are a hot and cold type of team, but they're always better at home. And yes, they have been cold, but this is a great advantage they have against the starting pitcher making his 3rd career start. And of course, they have Cole Reagans going for him, one of the premier pitchers in baseball. We just saw Arizona get diced up by lefty Shada Imanaga yesterday, and Cole Reagans has the similar stuff to do the same thing to the D-backs again today. So KC moneyline is the 2nd leg. 3rd leg, heading back to Coors Field, and we're fading the Boston Red Sox. We're going with the Colorado Rockies on the money line. You have the Red Sox coming from LA to Colorado, coming off Sunday Night Baseball loss last night, to now go play in elevation, which is something that they do not do, which is always a major benefit for the Colorado Rockies facing a team coming into their home park that does not have a ton of experience playing in that park. Now, Boston, very low expected weighted on base, big swing and miss and strikeout numbers against left-handed pitching. Only have a few guys in general who hit lefties well, and they have a terribly low batting average and OPS against left-handed pitcher. And they have a very balanced lineup in terms of righties and lefties. So it's not like they could stack right-handed batters against Austin Gomber to try to hit on some of his weaknesses. They're going to have to play some of their lefties. Gomber's done a great job shutting them down, and these Red Sox team has not hit lefties well. And yes, Tanner Houck has been great, but again, pitching in elevation, not something he's used to. The Rockies were cold yesterday, but had a good series against the Giants. I like them to upset the Boston Red Sox today at home. Last but not least, Houston, Oakland, over 8 runs. Now, this A's offense has been one of the best, if not the best offense in so many metrics this season. One of the biggest and best surprises of the season. And now they get to face Spencer Arrighetti, who sometimes can throw absolute meatballs. Now, the A's in their last 14 games dating pre-All-Star break, 356 expected weighted on base against righties. They're hitting barrels. They're putting the ball in the air. They're putting the ball in the gap. This is a good matchup for them. On the flip side, Houston's bats have been cold, especially lefties, poor metrics, but Hogan Harris going for the A's is one of the guys who is terrible terrible just general splits, and against right-handed batters, he gets shelled, and the Houston Astros are able to stack a lineup of strong right-handed bats, as well as obviously Yordan Alvarez in there, the big man, left-handed bat, to come and hit Harris. Yeah, they've been a little bit cold, but they should be able to get right and find gaps against Hogan Harris, and this number is too low at 8, so that's the 4-leg lay. We're going with the St. Louis Cardinals money line, Kansas City Royals money line, Colorado Rockies money line, Houston, Oakland, over 8 runs. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to help me grow. I appreciate all of you. Let's cash some tickets today. Best of luck with your bets.